For 6 decades, Ernest Borgnine kept silent about a co-star who made his life on set a living nightmare. Now, shocking details have emerged about what really happened behind the scenes: violent outbursts, sabotage scenes, and a coffee-throwing incident that left someone with second-degree burns. But the most explosive revelation isn't just about professional rivalries. It's deeply personal. Today, the truth about Hollywood's most dangerous feud is finally coming to light. Ernest Borgnine's journey to Hollywood was anything but conventional. Born Ernest Borgnine in 1917 in Hamden, Connecticut, he came from a family of Italian immigrants pursuing the American dream. However, before he could even recall his birthplace, life took an unexpected turn. At just 2 years old, his parents separated and his mother took him to Italy. There, in the town of Carpi near Medina, he spent the next 5 years. He learned to speak only Italian and immersed himself in a culture as foreign as it was captivating. But in 1923, everything changed again. His parents reconciled, and the family returned to the United States. This wasn't just a return home, it was a fresh start. His father, Camillo, changed his name to Charles, and the family surname was shortened from Borgnino to Borgnine to better assimilate into American society. For young Ernest, this shift in identity was just the beginning of the transformations that would shape his future. Growing up in New Haven, Connecticut, Borgnine had no interest in acting. While many kids dream of Hollywood, Borgnine was far more focused on sports, enjoying the physicality and competition. His high school yearbook didn't mention anything about drama, and there was no indication he'd ever step in front of a camera. But fate had other plans, and it all started when he enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1935, fresh out of high school. He served aboard the USS Lamberton, a destroyer, for 6 years. By 1941, he was ready to move on and received an honorable discharge. But just 2 months later, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. He couldn't sit idly by as his country went to war, so he re-enlisted in January 1942, serving aboard the USS Sylph, a patrol yacht tasked with defending the Atlantic coast. The war changed him. It instilled discipline, camaraderie, and a sense of resilience that would later shape the way he portrayed military characters on screen. By the time he was discharged in 1945, he had earned the rank of gunner's mate first class and multiple military honors. Borgnine almost made the Navy his career, seriously considering re-enlisting for another decade. If he had, Hollywood would never have known his name. But then, his mother gave him a piece of advice that stuck. She believed he had a forceful personality and encouraged him to try acting. That simple suggestion changed the trajectory of his life. At first, acting seemed like a strange path. Borgnine had no experience, no connections, and no idea where to begin. But he didn't let that stop him. He enrolled in the Randall School of Drama in Hartford, then headed to Virginia, where he joined the Barter Theater, a humble venue founded during the Great Depression, where people could trade food for tickets. There were no glamorous paychecks. Instead, Borgnine worked tirelessly behind the scenes, painting sets, fixing costumes, and even scrubbing toilets. One night during a performance, he had to chase a live chicken across the stage as it escaped into the audience, flapping wildly as people screamed and laughed. It was chaotic, but Borgnine learned the invaluable art of improvisation, how to engage the audience, and how to turn a disaster into entertainment. He also worked alongside future stars like Gregory Peck and Patricia Neal, picking up lessons from them. Then came his big break. Borgnine landed a role in Tennessee Williams' The Glass Menagerie, a performance he thought he had botched. However, the audience disagreed, and the play was a success, which drew attention to him. By 1949, he made his Broadway debut in Harvey, a play starring the legendary James Stewart. Borgnine's casting hadn't come easily, though. His face was too mean for comedy and too funny for drama, leaving casting directors uncertain where he fit. But in Harvey, he found his place, playing a male nurse. He watched Stewart's every move, taking notes and learning the craft in real time. The play ran for 1,775 performances, providing Borgnine the stability to take the next step in his career. Television came calling in 1951, where he made his TV debut in Captain Video and his Video Rangers, a low-budget sci-fi series where he played a villain. It wasn't a prestigious role, but it got him noticed. Columbia Pictures saw potential in him and offered him a small part in The Whistle at Eaton Falls. His breakthrough came in 1953 with From Here to Eternity, where Borgnine played the sadistic Sergeant Fatso Judson. It was a role so brutal and disturbing that Frank Sinatra, who played Angelo Maggio, refused to talk to Borgnine off-camera for weeks. Borgnine's dedication to the role left him isolated and disturbed, as the intensity of his performance stayed with him long after filming wrapped. But in 1955, Borgnine surprised Hollywood again with Marty, a film about an ordinary butcher looking for love. The role was the polar opposite of Fatso Judson, and the film itself was a gamble with a budget of only $343,000. Yet, it struck a chord with audiences, and Borgnine won the Academy Award for Best Actor at the 1955 Oscars. He was 38 years old, making him one of the oldest actors to win Best Actor for a debut role. His acceptance speech was simple. He thanked his mother for encouraging him to pursue acting. The success of Marty not only transformed his career but also reshaped Hollywood, proving that movies didn't need big stars or enormous budgets to succeed. Borgnine never allowed himself to be typecast. In 1967, at 50 years old, he played General Warden in The Dirty Dozen, a film that became a cultural touchstone. He insisted on performing his own stunts, including a dangerous leap from a moving train, earning admiration from younger co-stars like Lee Marvin and Charles Bronson. 2 years later, he shocked audiences again with The Wild Bunch, one of the most violent westerns ever made. His portrayal of Dutch Angstrom was both ruthless and strangely charismatic, but it was the chilling scene where his character guns down dozens of men while laughing maniacally that would haunt him for years. Meanwhile, Borgnine's television career was evolving in unexpected ways. His big break on TV came with McHale's Navy, a show that ran for 4 seasons and made him a household name. He played Lieutenant Commander Quentin McHale, a laid-back officer leading a misfit crew. While the role was a departure from the intense characters he had previously played, it wasn't all laughs and easy success. In the second season, Borgnine was seriously injured on set when a pyrotechnic device exploded too soon, burning his face and hands. He was forced to take 3 weeks off from filming, but he returned with even more determination. That same year, he earned an Emmy nomination for the role. The show also had an unexpected impact on the U.S. Navy. In 1965, a classified memo revealed that the Navy consulted with McHale's Navy writers for advice on creative problem-solving. The Navy even initiated a series of training exercises, Operation McHale, inspired by the show, an unbelievable but true influence that a sitcom could have on real military strategy. Borgnine's television career didn't slow down. In 1984, at 67, he took on the role of Dominic Santini in Airwolf, a high-octane action series about a futuristic helicopter. Despite his age, Borgnine did many of his own stunts, a decision that nearly cost him his life when a helicopter lost control and crashed just feet from where he stood. Thanks to his quick reflexes, he walked away with only minor injuries. Through all of this, Ernest Borgnine remained a symbol of resilience, proving that no matter the setbacks, no matter the challenges, from fiery feuds to life-threatening stunts, he would never stop. In 1998, at the age of 81, Borgnine found himself taking on a role that seemed far from his tough guy image. He became Mermaid Man on SpongeBob SquarePants. It all began thanks to his grandson, who was a massive fan of the show. The young boy kept encouraging his grandfather to get involved, telling him he would be perfect for a part. One night, at a charity event, Borgnine casually mentioned this to the crowd. Little did he know, a Nickelodeon executive was present and immediately asked him to read a few lines on the spot. Without hesitation, Borgnine delivered the performance that would land him the role. Mermaid Man became a beloved character, appearing in 17 episodes over 13 years. Fans often noticed subtle nods to Borgnine's real-life Navy service, woven into the character's dialogue. Even at 95 years old, Borgnine was still voicing Mermaid Man, with his final recording session taking place just 2 weeks before his death in 2012. This made him one of the oldest active voice actors in Hollywood at the time, showing that his impact on entertainment never waned. Though Borgnine would go on to become a TV icon, it's fascinating to note that just a few decades earlier, he was reluctant to even consider television as a career path. In 1956, fresh off his Oscar win for Marty, he turned down the lead role in The Real McCoys, claiming, "Television is a fad. It'll never last." At the time, most movie stars viewed TV as beneath them, but this all changed after an eye-opening encounter in 1961. At a charity event, Borgnine met a young boy who, despite his terminal illness, found comfort watching Borgnine's films from his hospital bed. That interaction made Borgnine realize that television had the power to reach people in ways that movies could not. Shortly after, he took a chance on McHale's Navy, which would become a major success and forever change his relationship with television. Ernest Borgnine's love life was just as dramatic as his career. Over the course of his 95 years, he married 5 times, each union marked by moments of passion, heartbreak, and, at times, scandal. His first marriage to Rhoda Kemple in 1949 lasted nearly a decade before falling apart in 1958 as his Hollywood career took off. Borgnine's second marriage, to Mexican actress Katy Jurado, was filled with fiery arguments and, by 1963, it too ended in divorce. However, the most infamous chapter came in 1964 when Borgnine married Broadway legend Ethel Merman. The union was nothing short of disastrous, lasting just over a month. Their honeymoon trip to Japan quickly turned sour as Merman, accustomed to the spotlight, felt overshadowed by the attention surrounding Borgnine. The tension eventually boiled over, leading to a public argument and, in a fit of rage, Merman throwing her expensive diamond and pearl ring into a koi pond. Their marriage ended in divorce, and Merman famously chose to release an autobiography in 1978 that featured a chapter titled, "My Marriage to Ernest Borgnine," but when readers turned the page, they found nothing but a blank one. It was a statement that spoke volumes, and Borgnine would later admit that it hurt deeply, calling it a slap in the face. His fourth marriage, to Donna Rancourt in 1965, lasted longer than his previous ones and produced 3 children. But by 1972, that relationship also ended in divorce. However, in 1973, Borgnine finally found true love with Norwegian businesswoman Tove Trays, whom he married that same year. For the first time, he found stability and happiness. Borgnine often credited Tove for keeping him going in his later years. Their relationship was solid, with Tove building a successful beauty business and Borgnine proudly supporting her. As he often joked, "I'm the oldest Avon lady in the world." Their love endured for nearly 4 decades, and in his last interview before his death, Borgnine revealed that Tove's love was the reason he remained strong and active at the age of 95. On July 8, 2012, Borgnine passed away, with Tove by his side, holding his hand, a testament to the lasting love they shared. Meanwhile, during his time on the Poseidon Adventure in 1972, Borgnine had another challenging experience with a co-star, Shelley Winters. The two had strong personalities, which made their time on set anything but easy. The film, which followed a group of passengers fighting to survive after their ship capsized, saw Borgnine playing a tough detective and Winters playing his determined wife. Their performances were filled with intensity, but behind the scenes, there was constant tension. Winters, known for her demanding approach, often pushed for script changes and even arrived on set with a 20-page character backstory. Borgnine, caught in the middle of these clashes, later admitted that working with Winters was exhausting, but he also acknowledged that her instincts were often right, and her dedication to her craft was undeniable. One of Borgnine's most memorable experiences was working with Spencer Tracy. Tracy had a unique ability to keep his co-stars off balance, often changing lines and improvising on the spot. Borgnine, not accustomed to this approach, was taken aback when Tracy threw in an unexpected line during a tense scene, leaving Borgnine frozen in place. The director, John Sturges, kept the take because of its raw authenticity, a moment that felt truly real. Similarly, when filming a fight scene between the two in Bad Day at Black Rock, the physical contrast between Borgnine's bigger frame and Tracy's smaller one made the scene even more intense. After 14 takes, the exhaustion and frustration from both actors contributed to a fight that felt far more visceral and real than anyone anticipated. However, not all of Borgnine's experiences were as professional. On Johnny Guitar, a set where he worked alongside Joan Crawford, tensions escalated between Crawford and co-star Mercedes McCambridge. The tension was so intense that the two refused to film together, forcing the director to shoot their scenes separately. On one occasion, Crawford threw a cup of hot coffee at a young production assistant, leaving him with second-degree burns. Borgnine recalled how Joan was like a ticking time bomb, never knowing when she might explode. He even remembered a time when he accidentally walked in on her screaming at a costume designer, a moment that left him too frightened to say anything, retreating from the scene without a word. These behind-the-scenes stories only added to Borgnine's legendary status, revealing that his path in Hollywood wasn't just shaped by his on-screen performances, but also by the tumultuous relationships